Hey everyone, how's it going? So today I'm going to do a review on the Wilcox L4 G30 or G24 mount. The first thing I'm going to cover is the controls. So we're going to start from the top and work our way down because this little night vision mount is actually packed full of features. So up top, you actually have a breakaway setting. So if you actually push this in, you'll see this bar. Hold on. You'll see this bar go inside a little bit more. I'm going to do it a couple times so you guys can see. But I don't know if you saw that kind of turtle head back into it, and you'll see it pop out. So in this setting right here, with the breakaway set this way, it's in locking mode, and then for breakaway mode, you hit it over. I like to have it on the locked mode because I just want it locked on my head and I don't want it accidentally coming off if it get bumped a little bit. So moving down from that, we actually have the height adjustment bar, and what I really like about this adjustment bar is it's fully on rails. So you can actually adjust it perfectly to where you want it to be because there's no set grooves inside. So it can sit perfectly with your eyes because everybody's different. Everybody's using a different padding system, a different helmet system, a different shroud. It's going to sit differently. So using this, you're able to quickly adjust it and just lock it right in. The adjustment is almost an inch of adjustment. So you have quite a bit of play in there. But when it's locked in, it's rock solid. It's not coming loose, it's not moving on you, it's not scooting around, it's set. Now just to the left of that, you have the angle adjustment. So as you can see it moving, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see. I'll try to play with it here for a second so you can see. But it has quite a bit of angle adjustment as well. So again, you can get that perfect level for your eyes. It has about a 15 degree of adjustment, so it has quite a bit for a mount like this. So moving over, you actually have the button. So the button is what stows the night vision up and brings it down. It's a very nice springy button, and it locks right into place without any wobble or, you know, scare of it moving around a lot to move off your eyes. Going back, you have the lever to put it onto shrouds. So as you see, the little tooth actually turtle head back right into the mount. So I'll see it. So this is when you hook it into the shroud, and then you just click this bar right back over, and that tooth comes right out and it locks in. And the last adjustment point is the how close and how far you want it to sit, the nod to sit from your eyes. So this has about an inch of adjustment as well. So you can adjust this. You just pinch these two buttons and you can adjust this this piece. This is the dovetail piece, which is what this mount uses, is dovetail. And you can adjust it to how close and how far you want it to sit from your eye. These do have a set of grooves, so you're not going to be able to get it exactly perfect, but one of these grooves is going to make it work with your eye. As far as how far it goes, it's going to sit in there perfectly fine. And the last button up front is the roller bar for the dovetail, and that's what clicks in to your night vision. Now, things I really like about this mount: it's all aluminum. It has set screws in front here as well as inside, and these are actually two different size set screws. The inside set screws for the bar are 1/16. That's the size you're going to need. And these have a little plastic end to them as well, so they don't scratch up the mount. And the same thing in the front, except for it's a different size. It's a 0.05 Allen key size. Now, why is this important? it eliminates all the wobble that's inherent with these mounts. Because it's aluminum and it's made to move, you're gonna have really nice tight tolerances with the Wilcox mount, because that's just, you know, it's precision machined out of aluminum to fit, but you still have to have play in order for it to move. But when you have these set screws in there, it virtually locks it in place, and you don't have any wobble up front. And in here, it adds more friction, so it doesn't wobble when it's in the stowed position or when it's down. Now it's really great because then I don't have to run bungees on my night vision. Some people might hate bungees like I do. I don't like them. It adds way too much hazard to my night vision, in my opinion, especially when going through forest. It just catches on a bunch of shit, and I hate that. So having these set screws in there to eliminate all the wobble is awesome. So that's pretty much right there was my biggest seller when I saw that this had it. And I noticed that a lot of people don't mention this. You don't see it on the websites. You don't see it on Wilcox's website or anywhere about the specifications of this mount. So it's not all made out of aluminum though. There are some plastic pieces like this knob and up front, but I would never worry about it. It's very nice thick plastic. So going onto the back interface, you also have these two screws, and it has this nice little buffer here, so you don't have to add a buffer on the back here, so it sits nice and flush and adds a lot of and reduces the play because it's already built in. That's why I love the L4 G24, because it already adds all the buffers. It adds the set screws to it, so it already gets rid of all the wobble that comes with most night vision mounts. And to put it on, you simply get any shroud, any shroud that accepts night vision mounts. You push in the bar, and you can see the little tooth go inside. Goes right on to you put it in top first, and then bottom, and just click that bar over. Now the mount's locked in. It's not coming out. You can go ahead and click put your nods on now. Goes on forward, and there you go. You're all set. Make your adjustments, and then tighten down these top two set screws, and you're good to go. All the wobble is going to be gone. So let's go ahead and take all this stuff off real quick, and I'll go into just some final thoughts and my opinions on the mount. So the reason why I like to run the Wilcox mount is because I'm using binoculars. Now, I have heard a lot of things about the L4 G24 and using them with PVS 14s, and them sitting way too far away from your eye, where they basically have to move this bar or this piece all the way back, and it still sits like an inch and a half away from their eye when they want it to be as close as it can. Now, one way to remedy this is to get the Wilcox, the on-off switched J-arm, and using that with this and your PVS 14s, you'd be good to go. So I just wanted to give you that little bit of info, as well as Wilcox has made their they just made a new shroud. It's called the Lowepro Shroud, and you actually take this adaptation piece off. You take these two screws off, and this piece comes off, and you basically screw it into the Lowepro mount, and that should bring this and your nods closer to your eye. The only problem with that is this then becomes a L4 G30, and you can't take this off, so it becomes permanently attached to the helmet. So you can't take this off and put this onto a different helmet system. So if you have a bunch of different helmets, or you got the Cry Nightcap or a Skull Crusher or anything like that, you can't take this off and just move it to it very quickly. You'd have to take the screws out and all that other stuff and pads, and it just becomes very annoying. But the fact that you can quickly disconnect this and put it onto any shroud is great, especially if you, as I said before, have multiple different helmet systems. So I really like the L4 or the Wilcox series of mounts because I'm running binos, like I said before, and the way that the binos sit when they're stowed up is great. because the nods sit in front of my eyes, or in front of my head, excuse me, instead of most Noroto's mounts, like the Rhino mount sits all the way up and it's floating inside my head, or above my head, and it's also exposing the rear view of my nods. So in case my nods, I have them set in the on switch, so they're always on, and I flip them up, they're going to see this glowing green and be able to shoot this, and I can possibly, you know, I'd lose my very expensive piece of night vision equipment. So for someone like me who does this as a hobby, it's not the biggest deal, but people who are doing this overseas and do it for a career, you know, that can, you know, it can be the difference between life and death, and being able to see, and the enemy being able to see you because you have your nods flipped up. It also helps with having this mount. It also helps with, you know, putting on slings, just getting things over your head. It's much easier getting in and out of vehicles. This isn't my personal experience, but it's a lot less likely to get tangled up in the rope, you know, when you're fast roping down things. So having it in front of your head as opposed to floating on top is much better. It distributes the weight a little bit more forward, so you get more helmet tilt, but it's more of a constant tilt and constant pressure, as it's wherever you move your head, it kind of moves your helmet as well, which is what I found that happened with the Noroto's, like, Rhino arm. But that, again, as I said before, that could be easily remedied with a nice counterweight, and you won't have that issue. But you can find this mount pretty much anywhere. I know lots of places that are selling them. Arms Unlimited, TNBC, Own the Night, they have this mount for right around $450. You can find it on eBay. That's where I got mine from. You can get them used too on forums and what have you, Facebook groups, and you can get a pretty good steal on this. I got mine off eBay for a really good price. It was a whole system actually, L4, an L4 G70, but I got it for an outstanding price. But yeah, if you have any questions or comments, you know where to leave them. Make sure to like, favorite, share, and subscribe. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram and like me on Facebook. I'll put links down in the description below. And as always, have a good one.